bed after she was attacked by a pair of coyotes.
What is the monkey doing? Tell me what the monkey...
He hit your face off!
We actually have a trainer in the water with one of our whales.
If I show weakness, if I retreat, I may be hurt, I may be killed.
Baby Azaria Chamberlain was taken by a dingo back in 1980.
Oh, God. Ow. Ugh. Shit. Hello, everyone. Sorry for the weird noises. My ribs are bleeding. I absolutely have bleeding ribs. I have bleeding ribs. I have a prolapse radium. I have a shattered coccyx. And absolutely, I have a torn sternum. I'm an absolute wreck of a man today. I did some work at the hospital, which I do semi-frequently. I enjoy this work. It's called sim patient work, and basically, they look for a bunch of actors. If you're an actor out there, and you're looking for some paid work, you should check in and see if your local university or hospital does this. Essentially, what they do is they hire actors to play patients for the medical students or the social studies students or the nursing students, sometimes psychology students. But you have to be a pretty good actor to do those because sometimes you got to act like a real freak. And I did that yesterday. Not the freak thing. I work with some medical students and... let's just say your boy's respiratory system is being very well looked after. I had 50 respiratory exams done to me yesterday. From 9 to 5, I sat on a bed with no back support, mind you. That was the worst part, actually, the no back support. And I had students come through and tap, tap, tap on the glass, not the glass, on my ass, not my ass either, on my chest, back, my pussy, and my crack. They took my blood pressure, they saw my respiratory levels, my blood saturation levels, which one person really scared me because he was like, oh, it's like 82. That's like you'd be dying. It's supposed to be like 90 to 100, like 95 to 100 or something like that. Did a bunch of stuff. That happened all day. And got to tell you, after the first 25 or so of people percussing on my ribs to just see if they can hear any fluid in my lungs, yeah, quite sore. It leaves you quite sore, I'll be honest with you. But yeah, like I said, the worst part was the no back support. Boys and girls, look after you. And my non-binary pals. You know what? Fuck the boys and girls. If you're an NB out there, I love you. First of all, I love you and I support you. Second of all, invest in some lumbar support, okay? I don't know what your gender issue is, okay? Maybe you don't either. That's fine. What I do know is that you need a back. You might not need a penis or a vagina, but you do need a back, okay? And you got to look after your back. So any of my non-binary friends out there, or my trans friends, you know what? Just look after your back. If you're cis, you can fuck right off, okay? I don't care about your back. You've got society and the system looking out for your back. These are marginalized groups, and no one's looking out for their back. I think we will start a new charity. We're going to try to raise... a conservative amount, let's call it $6 billion. We'll raise $6 billion. And then when the news outlets are like, what are you and your fans raising money for? Like, what's this going towards? Is it going to like the World Wildlife Fund or PETA? First of all, it's not going to PETA. Greenpeace, it could be going. And then I say, no. This is going to I'm buying back braces for gender fluid, non-binary, and transgender people. That is where the $6 billion is going. And any overflow will mysteriously go missing, and you will never see me again, because I'll be in the Bahamas, baby. This was a very long-winded way of saying my ribs hurt. But you know what? We make do. We get through it, okay? And you and me, we're going to get through it, because it's a pretty bad time to be a human right now. Oh, God. African Drum Circle. Do you have anything you want to say? Yeah, we might be invading Iran. That is pretty bad. I agree. Yeah, it's not ideal. I meant to say this at the end of the last episode, and then over the last 2 weeks since recording, kept kicking myself because I felt like I wish I'd said this in the last episode. So I'm going to say it now at the outset. It is a wild time out there. Ukraine and Russia are going at it. Israel's bombing Iran. Iran's bombing Israel back. Israel, it seems to be, is committing a fucking genocide of Palestinians, and all the meanwhile in America, which is where a lot of you guys are from. In fact, a lot of you are from California and Los Angeles. There were fucking like riots in the street, and Trump had his sad little parade. And this isn't a political podcast. I'm not really going to get into all that. But what I do want to say is that like it's been pretty overwhelming. Every morning I wake up and I open TikTok or open Facebook, and I just think to myself, what's the terrible thing that's happened while I've been asleep? Because while Australia's asleep, America's awake, and they're making moves, they're doing stuff. Every morning, it's like, what's the terrible thing that's going to ruin my day today? Is it a plane crash in India? Is it massive protests in America and people getting shot? Is it the Middle East seemingly flaring up into a third world war? Lots and lots of bad stuff. And if you're like me, I get pretty overwhelmed with that. And I do get a little down in the dumps. And I start to feel pretty helpless. Like, what is it that I can do? And there's not a lot I can do. I'm not Joe Rogan. I can't say, hey, take horse tranquilizer and then stocks and horse tranquilizer go up. I can't do that. I have a very small audience, but a very beautiful small audience, which is you guys. And I'm just going to use that to say, I'm not going to make any political statements here. I'm not going to tell you to vote for blah, blah, or go and invade that country or blah, 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 protest, blah. I don't care, okay? All I'm going to say to you, and this is my message to anyone listening, this is the one time I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to get back to the animal stuff. Just look after yourself and your friends and the people that you care about, okay? And be kind to people you don't know, okay? Just be kind. It costs nothing to be kind. I think people keep forgetting that. It's the easiest thing in the world to just put on a smile and be nice to someone that you might even disagree with. Maybe there's someone from a community that you don't particularly like or think that you don't like. It costs nothing to just be friendly to them in person, okay? If everyone was just a little bit more friendly in person and a little less mean online, I think we would be in a much better place. But I can't control what everyone does. I can only control what I do. And so my message is just pretty lame. It's pretty classic, but it never seems to fail. If you're just kind, things will work out. And that's it. Okay. That was a weird rambling beginning to the episode. I talked about my ribs and my pussy and my butt crack and Israel and being kind. So let's move on to some animals. Today, we're talking about one of my favorite animals, certainly in my top 5. When I was a kid, absolutely my favorite animal, but I think maybe I like monkeys a little bit more now and maybe a puppy dog. But today we are talking about the big chungusters themselves, elephants, specifically Indian elephants. This is my friend. He's Indian. That's a throwback to Ted. I'm quoting Ted, the TV show. Hasn't anyone watched that? It's very good. But yeah, we're talking about Indian elephants. More specifically, we're talking about 2 elephants with very distinctive personalities, and they're kind of little celebrities in their respective areas in India. I'm talking about Padayappa. I think I pronounced these correctly. Padayappa and Arikomban. Arikomban. That's how I'm going to say it. Arikomban. Yeah, Arikomban and Padayappa. Padayappa, by the way, a very fun name to say. We're talking about those 2 elephants today on the show. And yeah, we're talking about elephants. Strap right in, strap right on. Get that strap on. Fucking get that on right now. Lydia, if you're listening and you're not strapped the fuck on, I don't know what to tell you, bud. All right, let's do it. Showtime. So, as any listener of this show would be very well aware by now, India is home to some of the world's most iconic wildlife. They have Bengal tigers, cobras, they have sloth bears, but few of these creatures can hold the same cultural weight, or literal weight, I suppose, as the Indian elephant. These are towering, intelligent, and deeply symbolic animals. And Indian elephants are revered in religion, featured in festivals, and they're even given honorary statues in some villages. They're considered living deities by many, but these animals aren't just sacred symbols. They're real, complex creatures navigating a rapidly shrinking wild. As forests are carved up for farms, railways, and cities, elephants are increasingly forced into close and often deadly contact with humans. Now, the Indian elephant, also known as Elephas maximus indicus, is a subspecies of the Asian elephant that has roamed the Indian subcontinent for thousands of years. Evolving from ancient Proscodians that once shared the planet with mammoths and mastodons, Indian elephants are uniquely adapted to life in forested and grassland environments. Now, they're slightly smaller than their African cousins, and they have smaller ears, a domed head, and a single finger-like projection on the tip of their trunk. These are highly intelligent and social animals, and they live in tight-knit matriarchal herds and communicate through a complex system of vocalizations, infrasound, and body language. Their diet is strictly vegetarian, grass, bark, fruit, and leaves, but an adult male can consume over 150 kilograms of food in a single day. Wow, that's a lot of food. That's me and a bit. That's me and a bit of food a day. And this can become a serious problem when their habitat is fragmented and farmlands become the nearest buffet. Which brings me to today's subject of the story. In this episode, we're not talking about man-eaters in the traditional sense. We're talking about man crushes. Yes, man crushes. Not the kind of man crush that I have on you, Henry, who's listening. I did send you a DM, by the way, Henry, and you haven't replied, so I'd really like you to do that so we can maybe go have a little kiss. Okay. These are man crushers, yes. They're crop raiders, they're fence breakers, and sometimes they're celebrities. Ooh. Because two of these Indian elephants, Arikomban and Padayappa, have gained national attention not for just what they are, but for what they have done. From trampling fields to terrifying villages, these two elephants have been cast as villains, rebels, and even freedom fighters in an unfolding drama that says as much about us as it does about them. Now, are these animals dangerous? Okay, are they misunderstood? Or are they just simply wild elephants trying to survive in a world that's forgotten how to make space for the world's largest land animal? Let's meet Arikomban and Padayappa and decide for ourselves. We're going to start with what I believe is the gentler of the two souls, Padayappa, which again, very fun name to say it. Say it with me now. 1, 2, 3, Padayappa. And if you're Indian and you're telling me that's not how you pronounce it, it's like Padayappa. Or, getting dangerously close to doing a racist accent there. Padayappa. Just keep it to yourself. That's how I'm saying Padayappa, because it's fun, okay? It's fun. Anyway, in the misty hills of Munnar in Kerala, where tea plantations roll like green waves across the Western Ghats, an unlikely figure has captured the imaginations of locals and tourists alike. His name is Padayappa, an enormous wild elephant with long tusks, a gentle gait, and a taste for fresh vegetables. Named after a 1999 Tamil film starring Rajinikanth as a misunderstood hero, Padayappa has become something of a folk figure himself. Padayappa is not feared, but he's watched. He's not hunted, but he is followed. He's not hidden, but he is welcome. Padayappa isn't just another elephant wandering too close to human territory. No. He's part of the community. And for over a decade, he has walked the roads of Munnar like a resident. He ambles through traffic jams he causes himself. He ignores honking vehicles with severe indifference, and occasionally he pauses to browse the offerings at roadside fruit stalls. His daily life is equal parts wildlife encounter and public spectacle. Now, unlike many wild Tuskers, which, by the way, Tusker sounds like a slur for an elephant, so we're not going to say that anymore. Unlike many wild Tuskers, I am going to say it is funny, Padayappa does not come out crashing out of the jungle in a frenzy. He doesn't raid villages at night. He does not panic at the sight of crowds. He strolls in full daylight down highways and market lanes as if he's returning from his daily chores. Vehicles stop, cameras pop out, children point, and no one screams because he's not a ghost in the trees. He's a presence, and he is very much alive. He first became known to locals in 2011. Towering at over 9 feet tall, Padayappa was impossible to ignore. But what stood out most was his calm demeanor. He didn't damage homes, he didn't break fences, and he rarely even startled livestock. Instead, he began cultivating a reputation as something almost unthinkable: a polite little wild elephant. Now, that's not to say that he is harmless. Of course, Padayappa is, after all, a 5-ton animal with tusks sharp enough to puncture steel. There have been moments, or incidents even, where things could have gone very, very wrong. Once, he nudged a car too close for comfort. Another time, he blocked a school bus for nearly 20 minutes, causing panic among students and teachers. There's a dog outside barking. I don't know if you can hear that. He's so happy that we're talking about Padayappa. But even in these moments where he's startling students and teachers, even in these moments, he does seem more curious than aggressive. Padayappa is an immovable force, yes, but he's not a malevolent one. Perhaps most famously, Padayappa has a refined palate. What a fancy gentleman. Padayappa prefers to eat bananas, carrots, and tomatoes, often plucked neatly from carts or vendors' stalls. In one widely circulated video, he reaches into the back of a delivery truck and selects a bunch of bananas with surgical precision and walks away without damaging a single crate. Padayappa, he's not the Hulk, okay? He doesn't smash. He samples. He shops. Very cute. Padayappa. Now, over time, he has become more than just a wild elephant. He's become a tourist attraction, a social media darling, and even a small-scale economic boom for the area. Vendors have sold Padayappa souvenirs, local businesses use his name as a playful hook, tourists sometimes ask hotel managers, "Hey, will we see Padayappa today?" as if they're requesting room service from the poor guy who just wants to go home. But this beloved reputation does mask a deeper and more serious story. Padayappa is still a wild animal, and his growing comfort with humans is not entirely a success story. It is, in a lot of ways, a warning. His forest range, like so many in India, has been carved up by roads, plantations, resorts, and power lines. The boundaries between wilderness and civilization are blurring rapidly, and elephants like Padayappa are learning to navigate a world that was not built for them. Authorities have often debated relocating Padayappa, fearing that one bad day could turn a beloved elephant into a dangerous one. But the public has pushed back on this idea. Many locals don't want Padayappa moved. They see him not as a threat, but as a kind of living landmark, one of the few wild things left that doesn't hide from humans. And so far, forest officials have largely left him alone, issuing occasional alerts and asking the public not to approach him too closely. Padayappa, for his part, does seem content. He continues his daily routines, a walk through the town, a stop at the vegetable vendor, and a return to the edge of the forest at dusk. He lingers at the boundary between wild and human, never fully crossing over, but never retreating entirely either. In a country where human-elephant conflicts claim lives every year on both sides, Padayappa is certainly an anomaly. He is a question mark. Can we really coexist? Can a 5-ton elephant in a town of thousands of people find a way to share space without fear, without violence, and without tragedy? And so far, miraculously, the answer seems to be yes. But as with all stories that hinge on coexistence, and we have heard this story happen many times in the past, this is a very fragile coexistence. One misstep could change everything. But for the moment, Padayappa endures, not as a threat, not as a menace, but as a symbol for what could be possible. A wild animal, a local legend, a giant, meandering, fucking massive reminder that sometimes peace can walk on all 4 legs and it can cast a very long shadow. Now, another animal that casts a very long shadow, and potentially one that's not as bright and light as Padayappa, is Arikomban. Arikomban. His name translates quite literally to, quote, the rice tusker. That sounds like even more of a fucking slur. Jesus. It's like if a tusker was like an elephant, a rice tusker is an Asian elephant. You see how this is bad for me? I'm trapped. I can't not. That's what his name means, rice tusker. Quite poetic. It's not just poetic, though. It is branding. Because for years, this enormous wild elephant roamed the verdant hills of Kerala's Idukki district, raiding ration shops, breaking into homes, and gobbling up sacks of rice like it was his birthright. And in a way, hey, maybe it was. Arikomban was born in the lush mountainous terrain of Chinnakanal region, a place that used to be elephant country. But over time, tea estates, resorts, and government housing began to eat away at the forest. One of those developments was a human settlement called 301 Colony, built directly along an elephant corridor. So for the time he was a calf, Arikomban's home was a tightrope between wilderness and suburbia. He grew up under the watchful eye of his mother, a seasoned matriarch who taught him where to find food, where to drink, and how to avoid humans. That was until she was electrocuted by an illegal electric fence. Yes, sorry, this story gets dark very quickly. Yes, Arikomban's mum was given the electric chair minus the chair. After that, a young Arikomban began to fend for himself, often in the company of other elephants like Chilikomban, another infamous Tusker. Yeah, I'm just going to keep going with it. But unlike the others, Arikomban developed a very particular taste. He likes rice. He doesn't like wild grass. Not a big fan of fruit, just rice. Preferably the kind stacked in big burlap bags beneath the thin wooden walls of ration shops. And so began his reign. From about 2017 onwards, Arikomban began to make regular visits into towns and villages, targeting public distribution centers and ration shops meant for low-income families. There are dozens of reports, each one eerily similar. A shadow in the mist. A thunderous crash, a wall caving in, and then silence as Arikomban hoovers up the sacks of rice with his trunk, dusts off the floor for any leftovers, and strolls back into the forest like a really fucking big ghost. Now, to some locals, this just became routine. You'd wake up, you'd find the door hanging off its hinges, and you'd go, fuck, Arikomban came again. But to others, especially those injured or displaced by this rampage, it was anything but charming. Now, there were reports of injuries, elderly residents knocked over in the panic, children terrified in their sleep. In 2021, one man actually died during a stampede caused by Arikomban's disturbance. Now, I want to make that clear. The elephant didn't directly harm him. He was trampled by the people running away at the panic of the elephant. Still, the story, it's never simple. Many activists and locals push back, saying Arikomban wasn't a rogue, he's a refugee. That he was only in these areas because humans had taken over the land that he used to roam very freely. But as the pressure mounted, the government finally took action. In March of 2023, officials launched a massive and very controversial capture operation. For 48 hours, over 150 forest officials, veterinarians, and trained elephants known as kumkis searched the forests. Helicopters flew overhead, drones scanned the canopy. Finally, after a long chase, Arikomban was darted, sedated, and trucked out of the area. He was relocated to Periyar Tiger Reserve, which, by the way, if I'm an elephant and you stick me in a place called a tiger reserve, it's like putting me in a place called Punch the Fat Guy Club. Bad place to be if you're a fat guy. I'm skinny fat. That's what I am. I'm skinny fat. Anyway, it doesn't matter. He was relocated to Periyar Tiger Reserves, but within weeks, he wandered out, traveling over 300 kilometers through the forests and farmlands, and eventually ending up in the Kalakad Mundrathuri Tiger Reserve. I'm so bad at these names. I need to go to India and just learn how to speak this language. But he ended up in another tiger reserve, 300 kilometers away, and that's where it happened again. In June of 2023, Arikomban entered the town of, and you're going to love this, let me spell it out for you and you'll find why I'm finding this so funny. This town is spelled Cumbum. That's right. Arikomban entered Cumbum. I want to move to Cumbum. Fantastic. I'm going to be the mayor of Cumbum. What are my qualifications to be the mayor of Cumbum? Well, I think it's in the name itself. I am the best at at, well, you can guess the rest. Now, this town, Kumbum, is located in Tamil Nadu. I can pronounce that because it's only 4 letters each. That's 5 letters. Tamil Nadu. Chaos erupted in Kumbum. Sorry, I've got to stop. Man, these Tuskers in Kumbum, it's crazy. Chaos erupted. Vehicles overturned, shops were destroyed, one person died of a heart attack during the panic, and it seemed that relocation had done nothing to stop the problem. So, the elephant with the rice habit became a full-blown national controversy. Wildlife officials tried again, this time fitting him with a GPS collar to monitor his movements instead of relocating him. And in the years since, something remarkable has happened. No new attacks. No new deaths. Arikomban began avoiding populated areas. He now sticks to the forest. His GPS trail tells a story of an elephant who, once given the space, prefers solitude. Today, Arikomban remains a living symbol of India's fractured relationship with its wildlife. To some, he's still a threat. To others, he's a tragic hero. He's inspired protests, court cases, songs, memes, and even children's books. I hope in the children's books it's not set in Kumbum. One thing is certain, though. Arikomban is not just another elephant. He's Arikomban, the rice-loving Tusker who reminded the world that even a giant can be pushed too far. At a glance, Arikomban and Padayappa seem like total opposite ends of a very Tusky spectrum. One, a secretive raider of ration shops chased through the forests of Kerala and Tamil Nadu in a high-stakes capture operation. The other, a camera-loving wanderer who strolls through the hill stations like he's on a casual grocery run. Arikomban, the fugitive, Padayappa, the fancy little gentleman. One is feared, one is adored. But if you look closer, you start to see it's not just differences, but deep, almost poetic parallels. Both elephants are the products of human-altered landscapes. Born in once sprawling forests now carved up by plantations, roads, and settlements, they were each forced into unnatural proximity with people. Not by curiosity, but by necessity. Their habitat wasn't just lost, it was replaced with food. Rice sacks, vegetable stalls, bananas stacked in crates. In the war between instinct and opportunity, opportunity won. Arikomban's story plays out like a tragedy. He was orphaned young, losing his mother to an electric fence that was put up illegally. He grew up shadowing the other bulls and soon earned a reputation for raiding government ration shops, stealing sacks of rice in the dead of night, breaking walls and sometimes bones. The headlines called him a menace. Officials launched multi-day operations to capture him. And when he was finally caught and relocated, he walked 300 kilometers right back into human territory. Because that's the only territory that he actually knew. Padayappa, on the other hand, well, he chose via visibility. He didn't sneak into towns in the cover of darkness. He walked in, he strolled in during broad daylight, calmly picking vegetables off roadside stalls and weaving through traffic as cameras clicked all around him. He's actually been called a model citizen of the wild. He's never hurt anyone, and he's never caused a panic, really. He always retreats peacefully into the trees. Locals describe him like a familiar uncle, and not the kind of uncle that touches you in Kumbum. He's the town's personality. But for all their differences in temperament, in tactics, and in public image, the root cause of their behavior is still the same. It's displacement. Arikomban and Padayappa are not anomalies, but they're messengers. Their stories reflect the broader crisis of the human-elephant conflict in India, where wild corridors have become battle zones and elephants are forced to either adapt or be shot and killed. What's most striking to me, perhaps, is the public perception and how that shaped their fates. Arikomban was declared a threat. He was tranquilized, relocated, tracked, and blamed for deaths, even when those deaths came from panic, not violence from him. Padayappa, though just as disruptive in theory, was granted celebrity status. His image was lovable, his story was gentle, and so he got to remain free. It's the same species, it's the same region, it's the same shrinking forest, but it's a wildly different story. And in both of these stories lies the question, what makes one elephant a criminal and the other one a folk hero? Is it behavior? Is it branding? Is it damage? Is it demeanor? Or maybe it's simply which side of the road they happen to walk down. In the end, Arikomban and Padayappa are not villains, and they're not saints either. They're just wild elephants navigating a world that no longer knows how to hold them. They're survivors. They're symbols. And they're warnings. And if we're paying attention, perhaps our last and maybe our best chance to figure out how to live alongside something truly, irreversibly wild. And that's my little story about Arikomban and Padayappa. I do love elephants. They're very cool. I've seen a few, in zoos and stuff, Indian elephants, Asian elephants. They're quite popular in zoos in Australia. But I've never actually seen in the wild or in captivity, an African elephant. I've always wanted to see an African elephant because those animals are truly majestic. I just think, this is maybe shows my bias, but they just look better, right? The big ears, the big tusks, Asian elephants kind of look a little bit dopey. But maybe that's why people like them. I don't know. There's a bunch of other elephants like these two. Maybe we'll talk about them another time. I did get a bit of information, but we've been going on. I've been prattling on for a while. Probably shouldn't have taken all that time to talk about cum bum, hey. Okay, let's move on now to our Scratch of the Day. We have 3 stories in a row, all involving the unfortunate death of children. So I'm going to give you a little warning now. I know oftentimes you guys ask for the warning, and I forget to do it. I'm not forgetting today. All 3 stories do involve the tragic deaths of some children. So we are going to treat these stories with reverence. But then after this, we have a follow-up up from a very early story in man-eater's history. So we're going to get to these now. First story, the headline reads, 9-year-old girl recounts moment she was bitten by a shark while snorkeling in Florida. Luckily, this one doesn't involve the death of a child, but the child was still attacked. This happened in Boca Grande in Florida. A 9-year-old girl who was bitten on the hand by a shark in Florida is speaking out about the terrifying moment she was attacked. Leah Lendl, I believe, was snorkeling near Boca Grande on June 11th when, quote, something hard bit me and then tried to tug me away, she said at a news conference Thursday alongside her parents and the doctors who treated her. Quote, then I pick up my hand and it's all in blood, Leah said. Then I started screaming with my mum. I think I should do the accent. It makes it easier to know when I'm speaking and when she's speaking. What does a little Floridian girl sound like? Okay, get into character. There was so much blood in the water next to me, Leah's mum, Nadia Lendl said at the news conference. In an instant, I knew it was a shark attack. I just started to scream to my husband, Nadia Lendl recalled. Meanwhile, Leah's instincts kicked in, and she ran out of the water, her mum said. Then my dad was with me, Leah said. He picked me up and we ran to the road. Not a Floridian accent at all. Leah's parents expressed their gratitude for the construction workers who were eating lunch on the beach and immediately just a little sidebar. I have never seen construction workers ever fucking working. Seriously, they're always eating lunch. They're always eating lunch with their vaping. God damn. Although these ones, it was lucky they were doing that. They were eating lunch at the beach, and they immediately ran to help them call 911 and put Leah's arm in a tourniquet. Leah's dad said EMS then responded within minutes. Tampa General Hospital doctors praised the first responders for choosing to fly the 2 hours in helicopter to their hospital, where they said they had the expertise to help Leah within the 6-hour window to save the tendons, tissue, and muscle. Doctors said they operated on Leah's hand less than an hour after she came through the hospital doors. At the hospital, I was trying to hold myself together, Leah's dad, Jay Lendl, said. I think I was crying more than she was. Tampa General Hospital Dr. Alfred Hess said luckily a shark bite is not jagged, but leaves a clean cut on the wrist that doesn't ruin all the tissue. First, Leah's bone was stabilized, and then doctors said they worked on blood flow. Some blood vessels were taken from Leah's leg to help get the blood flow back to her hand, the doctor said. Leah will next undergo physical therapy, the doctors say, and eventually the pins in her hand will be removed. I'm just so thankful for everybody, Jay Lendl said. I'm just very thankful she's alive. Meanwhile, another shark bite was reported on Tuesday on Hilton Head Island, South Carolina. This victim suffered a non-life-threatening injury to the leg and was airlifted to a hospital in Savannah, Georgia, according to the Hilton Head Island Fire Rescue. There were 28 unprovoked shark bites in the US last year, according to the Florida Museum of Natural History's International Shark Attack file. Florida recorded the most with 14. South Carolina only had 2. Just one shark attack in the US last year, which occurred in Hawaii, was fatal. This next story is, unfortunately, I believe, not as good. Okay, so not as good. Well, not as happy ending. I think. I'm not sure. I think this person is okay. I think she survived. So, a 12-year-old girl has been mauled by a 12-foot alligator while playing in shallow waters, as friends ran screaming from the lake and warning was issued. I think this might have already happened in Florida as well. Let's see. A girl has been attacked by a massive alligator while she played in the lake with her friends. The children raced from the shallow waters to shore while screaming after the 12-year-old girl yelled out, "Something bit me." A giant alligator surfaced during the chaos at Lake Waccamaw in North Carolina. There you go. On Friday evening, police said. The Lake Waccamaw Police Department initially estimated the alligator that surfaced was 6 to 7 feet long. However, holy shit, wildlife officials later identified the beast as a 12-foot-long male alligator. This girl is very lucky. The girl was left with about 6 stitches and multiple scratches on her leg, but is otherwise fine. It is unclear as to if the injuries were caused by a bite or a claw, but they were definitely caused by an alligator. Authorities quickly captured and euthanized the gator per the protocol. Wildlife photos showed up in North Carolina's Wildlife Resources Commission officers tying up the massive animal before it was killed. The alligator was acting unusually by being in the lake around people, according to NCWRC alligator biologist Alicia Wasmer. They very rarely get into the lake, especially during the daytime, Wasmer told us. The WECT is us, by the way. She said there are roughly 600 alligators in the area and that they typically prefer murkier canal waters to the lake. However, Wasmer said the alligator was behaving as one typically does when it's fed. Feeding alligators can encourage them to return to people-filled places like swimming spots. It can create issues like this down the road, Wasmer said. Not necessarily for the person who's feeding the alligator, but for other people. For that reason, feeding alligators is a felony in North Carolina that could land you with a $500 fine or even jail time. Wasmer also warned against accidentally feeding alligators by dumping fishing bait or food scraps off docks or piers, throwing fish scraps into the water or unused fish bait, especially at places like boat ramps. So we discourage that as well as feeding other wildlife in the water. It is unclear if the alligator was fed before it attacked the girl. People are coming in, tourists are coming in, we need to educate people, Wilson said. Be mindful of your surroundings. Do not feed the alligators. Do not dump your table scraps from supper from the night before into the lake. Officials added the alligator attacks are very rare in the area. The girl's close call came just weeks after a horrifying alligator attack where a 61-year-old woman was dragged out of a canoe and killed. Yikes. Okay. Final story. Now this, are we going to find out if they died from the beginning? I can't tell. All right. This headline reads, oh, I didn't do the thing. Hold on. Music. Fuck. Jesus, how do you forget the music every time? Dumbass. Ass. I'm going to kill myself. I'm not really going to kill myself. Okay. Sorry. Next story. 6-year-old brutally mauled by pit bull after mom and 2 men handcuffed him in Savannah, Ohio. A 6-year-old boy in Ashland County, Ohio, barely survived. Oh, thank God. Okay, we got through all 3 stories without the kids actually dying. I'm so glad. Okay. A 6-year-old boy in Ashland County, Ohio, barely survived the brutal attack of a pit bull being violently mauled by the dog. The boy was handcuffed at the time of the attack, and now his mother, Angelina Williams, and 2 other men, Taylor Marvin Brown and Robert Mikowski Jr., have been convicted of crimes related to the incident. According to a release issued by Ashland County Prosecuting Attorney Christopher R. Tunnell, the incident occurred on August 17th, 2024. The boy, along with his sister, was periodically restrained at Mikowski's home with handcuffs and other devices. Oh, this sounds awful. During the day of the incident, while the 6-year-old was restrained, he was attacked by a pit bull. As a result, he sustained serious injuries, but ultimately he did survive the brutal mauling. People reported that, People the magazine, not People the people, People reported that following the incident, Mikowski and the pit bull's owner fled the scene with the dog. He was eventually detained alongside the animal days later as they were hiding in a cubby hole. Angelina Williams, Taylor Marvin Brown, her partner, and Robert Mikowski Jr. were charged in connection with animal attack. Months later, on June 10th, 2025, the trial began. A verdict was reached on June 13th. Mikowski was found guilty of 2 counts of complicity to commit endangering children and tampering with evidence. He was acquitted of kidnapping, additional endangering children charges, and possession of criminal tools. Williams, the child's mother, pled guilty to charges of kidnapping, endangering children, obstruction of justice, and possessing criminal tools on May 12, 2025. Marvin Brown pled guilty to the same charges on April 21st, 2025. Williams will be sentenced on June 30th, 2025 at 10:30 a.m. Marvin Brown will be sentenced on July 14th, 2025 at 9 a.m. Finally, Mikowski, I've said it different every single time. Mikowski's sentencing will take place on July 21st, 2025 at 3 p.m. in the Ashland County Court of Common Pleas. He faces up to 9 years in prison. The 9-year-old boy fully recovered following the violent animal attack. As per the prosecuting attorney's release, he and his sister, who was not physically harmed, are now residing together with a legal custodian. The release states that both children are receiving appropriate support and protection. Oh, God, some people, man. Some people just should not have kids. Yeah, bad. We just did 3 whole weeks of talking about dog attacks, so I was pretty keen to not have to talk about another one, but here we are. Luckily, in this story, as well as the alligator attack, as well as the shark attack, all 3 children have survived, which is different to what I said at the outset. I thought they all died from the headlines. Okay, final story. This is a follow-up, pup, from a story way back in the early days. Does anyone remember Travis the chimp? Okay, Travis the chimpanzee he was a chimpanzee, and he, how do I put this gently, ripped the face and hands off a woman. Now, you may know this, or you may not know this if you're a newer listener of the show. I have a weird personal connection to this story. I'm going to tell you about it. I'm going to refresh your memory a little. So, the chimp in question's name is Travis. Now, there's a play written about this called Trevor. They changed the name of the chimp, okay? They basically wrote a comedy version of this story where obviously the ending is different and the chimp doesn't rip the face off the woman, but he does nearly kill a baby. So that's just comedy for you. Anyway, in Trevor, I played the chimpanzee, and not to brag, I actually won a Condor Award for that. Well, actually, I had to share the Condor Award that year because they gave it to fucking Rochelle Schmidt-Adnam. We had to share it that year. It's all right. She's a pretty great human being, so it's fair enough. If you have to share a Condor, this is good advice for everyone who listens. Very relevant for all of you. If you ever have to win a Condor Award for Best Lead Actor, you might as well share it with Rochelle because she's pretty good. But anyway, I played this animal in a play. This is back in 2021. This is a long time ago. But yeah, there's a follow-up. So the story reads, or the headline reads, woman who had her face ripped off by friend's pet chimpanzee reveals sound she heard during the attack. Charlotte Nash, this is the woman who was attacked. Charlotte Nash's story spread worldwide in 2019, serving as a clear and distinct warning for all those considering making pets of wild animals. When it comes to what animals an individual may keep and care for in their home, laws differ depending on where said person lives. What's acceptable for folks in some countries seems utterly bizarre to people in others. There are obviously a plethora of moral and ethical questions raised, not to mention concerns regarding the safety of the homeowner in question when they take in a potentially dangerous animal. Now, over the years, we've seen all manner of stories involving pet spiders, snakes, exotic birds, tigers, and naturally, just about any species of dog under the sun. Yet few cautionary tales can compare to the events involving Charlotte Nash, her friend Sandra Herold, and Sandra's pet chimp, Travis. By all accounts, Travis was a local celebrity in the area of Sandra's home in Connecticut, though his behavior had grown increasingly erratic over time as he adjusted to a lifestyle wholly unnatural to a chimp. Chimpanzees, as with virtually any other animal, can act out if feeling threatened, jealous, sick, scared, or simply out of sorts, and sudden bursts of aggression, often coming completely without warning, can have dire consequences. Charla Nash, a friend of Sandra's, often came and visited the home and spent time with Travis, who in turn appeared comfortable and calm in her presence. That was until the day of February 16th, 2009, when Nash, who had recently changed her hair, went to Sandra's house to help return the chimp to his enclosure. The chimp had reportedly stole his owner's car keys and left the house to go outside. That's the thing about this story. The chimp could drive a car. Pretty crazy. Well, I say could drive it. He could make it run, like he would drive into a tree or something, but he could make it go. When Nash arrived, she attempted to lure him back into the home through the use of one of his toys. This toy, not in the story, but I remember this, it was a Tickle Me Elmo. When Travis recognized the doll, however, he erupted in a fit of rage and leapt to the attack. As per reports, the prevailing theory is that the chimp may have become confused or agitated with Nash's new hair. In any case, what unfolded thereafter was a scene from a nightmare. Sandra Harold placed a 911 call in the midst of the attack where Travis's screeches could be heard in the background as he mauled Nash. Nash, who had been pinned against a car, suffered grave injuries to her face, including a broken bones, torn eyelids, nose, jaw, lips, and the removal of most of her scalp. Travis also left her blind and pulled off one of her hands. One thing I forgot to say, part of that 911 call is in the intro of our show. Listen to this. Wait for it. It's like the second one. Here.
What is the monkey doing? Tell me what the monkey...
He ripped your face off!
That's from the actual 911 call. That was Sandra Harold. You could hear her screaming and you could hear Travis in the background. Pretty wild. Okay. Harold's desperate attempts to bring the chimp under control included hitting him with a shovel and stabbing him in the back with a large knife. Travis, though, was relentless and began to eat Nash's face and eyeballs. Police arrived at the scene minutes later, and Travis came at them too, covered in blood. Responding officer Frank Shafiri shot the chimp multiple times, forcing him back into the cage where he died from his wounds. Very, very sad. This is the actor speaking. I just got really emotional reading that because that's what happens in the play too. Like Sandra stabs him with a knife and he dies in the creche. Yeah, really sad. Damn. Nash, although extensively maimed, was miraculously still alive. After hours on the operating table, surgeons were able to reattach her jaw before she was flown to Ohio for an experimental face transplant. Later recalling the horrific incident, Nash described what she could hear as the crazed attack unfolding. She says, "The thing I heard most was, it kept screaming. Screaming and screaming and screaming," Nash told 60 Minutes Australia. A subsequent toxicology report performed on Travis determined that the animal had been given Xanax on the day of the attack. Sandra speculated that this may have fueled his aggression. And that was our scratch of the day. We're going to finish the day off by playing a game that we played last week. We're going to play it with ChatGPT. Guess the animal I'm thinking of. So they're going to ask me yes or no questions, and I'm going to answer them. So ChatGPT said, and by the way, I'm okay with the use of AI in this context, okay? So don't come at me. I know this is using a lot of water, but it's good entertainment. Okay, they ask me, is it a mammal? I probably should have thought of the animal. Let's go. I mean, you and I can know because you can't hear me. Let's go chimpanzee because we just did a story on one. Okay, yes, it is a mammal. Is it a wild animal, not typically domesticated? Yes, although, as we learned, people do it with varying degrees of success. Is it a carnivore? No, it's not. It's an omnivore. It can eat plants, but it can also eat meat, including faces and eyeballs. Is it larger than a human? No, but pretty close. Question 5, does it live on land? It does. It does live on land. Good job. Is it found in forests or jungles? Let's say yes, it is. Is it primarily active during the day? I think it is. I think so, yes. Does it have a tail? Good question, ChatGPT. No, it does not have a tail. That is going to narrow it down for you. Is it known for being particularly intelligent or social? Yes. Is it known for ripping off faces? Is it a type of primate? Yeah, it is. I think he's going to get it. Is it a monkey rather than an ape? Like it has a tail if it's a monkey, but you said no tail earlier. I think it thinks I'm an idiot and that I think that apes have tails or monkeys don't have tails. No, it's not a monkey. It's not a monkey. It's not a monkey. I'm tricking you. So it's a tailless primate, which means it's likely an ape. Is it one of the great apes? Yes, it is one of the great apes. It said, is it one of the great apes like a chimpanzee, gorilla, orangutan, or gibbon? Yes, it is. Is it smaller than a gorilla? Yes. Is it mostly found in Asia? That would point to orangutans or gibbons. No, it's not found in Asia. Chimpanzees are from Africa. Then it's African. Is it a chimpanzee? Yes, got it in 15. Well done. Well done, ChatGPT. All right, other way around. I'll guess the animal now. Okay. No, I already did that. Wait, what? What is it asking me? No, you think of an animal. Now I'm having a fight with an AI. You think of the animal. It's hard to type and talk at the same time. And I'll guess. Okay. All right, let's go with, is it a mammal? Let's just copy the same questions that it asks. It is a mammal. Is it a carnivore? No, let's go herbivore. I can't just copy everything it asks. It is a herbivore. Okay, cool. Does it have hooves? Does it have hooves? No, it does not have hooves. Okay, so that rules out cows, deers, horses, etc. Is it native to Australia? It is not native to Australia. Okay. Okay. Like, it is a herbivore. Does it have a tail? Question mark. Yes, it has a tail. What's my next question? Very aggressive there, ChatGPT. Relax. What could we ask it? Have we asked if it lives on land? I haven't asked that. Because it could be a whale. Or a dolphin. Or like a sea cow. It does live on land. Okay, that doesn't help me narrow it down. It's a mammal. It's a herbivore. Lives on land. Not native to Australia. Not hooved. I'm going to see if it's in Africa. Because it could be like an elephant or something like that. Oh, it is native to Africa. Okay. Larger than a cow? Question mark. No, it's not larger than a cow. Okay. So, let's recap. African mammal. Smaller than a cow. Eats plants, does not have a hoof. What could that be? It can't be a rhino or an elephant or a hippo, because those are too big. It can't be a wildebeest or a zebra or a giraffe, because they have hooves. It can't be a lion, because it's a herbivore. What could you be? Does it have a tail? Wait, did I ask if it had a tail? I think I might have. No, I already asked if it has a tail. It does have a tail. Number of toes. Oh, it has to be yes, no question. Does it have 3 toes? No, it does not have 3 toes. God, I think I'm stumped here. African mammal, herbivore, smaller than a cow, doesn't have hooves. Huh. Is a meerkat a... No, meerkats are like omnivorous. It does have a tail, so it can't be an ape. Could it be a monkey? It could be a monkey. Yes, it is a monkey. What's my next guess? Okay. This is a good question. Is the name of the first name of the monkey another animal? Is it named after another animal? Like a spider monkey. That's what I'm thinking. Could you clarify what you mean? Like, does the name have another animal name in it? Okay. No, it does not have another animal. So it's not a spider monkey. What other monkeys live in Africa? Fuck. What a squirrel monkey. Oh, that's not. That's another animal. What am I doing? What type of monkey is it? Oh, it's a baboon. You idiot. Wait. Do baboons have tails? Because I was thinking baboon. I thought they didn't have tails. Wait, do baboon... do baboon... I just said, wait, do baboon. Do they have tails? Is he trying to trick me? Yes, baboons do have tails. The tails are quite noticeable and are not prehensile. Oh, they do have tails. I'm a dipshit. There you go. Wow. What a great note to end on. Absolute failure right there. If you want to see me kind of nail a game, though, go to our Patreon, because I'm doing the Metazua over on Patreon every week, and I kind of fucking nailed it this week. Last week it took me like 10 minutes, but I kind of smashed it today. So go check that out. Spoiler alert for the most recent video. But yeah, that's going to basically do it, folks. Just want to say, as always, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate all the messages you have, and just, again, going to my message at the outset about friendliness and kindness. Just be good. Just be good to people, Be kind. Be polite. It's so easy to be rude and mean to people. I feel it too. I'm not a saint. I'm often mean, mean to people. But, it does take effort. I really do think being mean and rude, that's the easy path. It's actually the harder thing to do, is to be nice to people, especially if you know that there's things you disagree with them. So take that on board, and I hope that, that helps. As always, there's all the social media bullshit you can do. Oh, one thing I was hoping you could do, guys, could you, wherever you listen to this, go and give it a rating or a thumbs up or whatever you have to do. I know Spotify, you can do like 5 stars. That'd be great. What am I currently on? It's usually something like 4.2, which is like fine, I guess, but I don't know why it wouldn't be a 5. Who is voting the show less than a 5? Who does that? You either voted a 1 or a 5. Maybe that's what's happened. Someone listened to it and didn't like it at all, right? And then gave it a 1. Regardless, if you guys could go and do that, that would be very much appreciated. All the social media stuff, patreon.com/maneaters if you want to support the show. And you can chat to me on Instagram at maneaterspodcast or at Jimothy Chaps. Send your messages and thoughts there. And that's going to do it, guys. Have a fantastic week. I'll see you next time. And stay safe, because as we've learned, it's a jungle out there.